this is Jessica, the Sweetwater Stitcher, and today is Tuesday, April 15th. Thank you guys for coming back. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I did have a finish after last week's video, and then I didn't realize how many projects I worked on. So a little life update is we had my daughter's birthday Friday. My middle daughter, she turned 6. And then my brother-in-law and sister-in-law were in town over the weekend. And it was just been busy. So with company and birthdays and presents and all this stuff, I felt like I just didn't have a lot of dedicated stitching time. So I was kind of all over the place. But like I said, I was able to get in a finish on my little sampler for my youngest daughter, Madison. And I finished this last Monday after the video. And I mentioned last time I did switch the colors up. This is a chart by Sylvia from Running with Needles and Scissors. And this is the chart. And so I ended up just leaving her initial and the date how it is. It is an antique sampler, and the one on the, or I believe it, I'm pretty sure it's a reproduction. Or maybe not. I don't know. I didn't actually read the thing. Anyways, I felt like it was fine with the letter and the date how it is. I wanted to have her birth year and I wanted to have her initial, and I did not feel like picking it out. So I'm fine with how it looks. I'm not going to add anything else. I am going to get a frame for it. I have a couple other things to frame and I just haven't gotten there yet with all of the things going on. I feel like it's either nothing's happening or everything is happening. And right now it seems like everything is happening. So that was my finish. And then after that, like I said, I just kind of stitched a little on a lot of different things. I did start a couple things and picked up at least one whip. I am also going next Thursday, the 24th, I'm leaving to go to the Hobby House retreat with Plum Street and Heartstring Samplery, Paulette and Beth. And so I've mentioned this before, when I'm about to go to a retreat, I'm currently on my working table. I have things I'm making for table gifts. I'm trying to get everything organized at my house, laundry done, and all the things to be able to go out of town. So then I feel like that kind of throws my stitching routine off, as well as having the company. So with that, I'll just share what I did work on, and we'll go from there. So I did pick up, because I saw, oh goodness, his name is Andrew, and I want to say it's Andrew X Stitches, or Andrew, I forget what his Instagram name is, but he had finished Sweet Wren from Teresa Kogut. And so my friend Bernadette, she finished it, and they both stitched it on a light fabric. And so I wanted to stitch that on a light fabric. So I did kit that up, and I'll show what I did start, but it also reminded me of this chart, which was a whip. So I pulled this out and worked on this a little bit. This is an exclusive from Claire's Stitching Post. If you're interested in it, I believe she has them. You have to email her, and I can put her email below, and you can order the chart. This, when did we get this? It's from last year. So I'm kind of feeling like it should be coming out for general release sometime soon. But I had a lot done when I picked it up. And I didn't stitch very much, and then I switched over to Sweet Wren. But I did get it with the called for fabric, which is 40 count eucalyptus by Fox and Rabbit. which is a green color. But I decided to switch to prairie grass. This is 36 count. And I did, when I was stitching this last year, I talked about I switched the letters from this brown color to one of the pinks. So when I was working on it, I was just trying to fill in the tail, and then I ended up switching to Sweet Wren. But I got this out, and I thought maybe I'll keep picking it up and put some more in. If I fill in the flowers, this could be fill in. Down here can be fill in. This is fill in. So I'm contemplating getting this to a couple other fill-in places and then taking this to work on if I want to stitch in the airport or on the airplane. I could work on this and it would just be fill-in. And it's on 36 count, which for me is not difficult to stitch without anything. And these are the colors, which is very similar to the colors for Sweet Wren, which let me find that one next. So I was glad I pulled this back out to maybe, like I said, get it to a fill-in place, and then I can take it on my trip next week. And besides that, I have no idea what I'm taking. I'm hoping that whatever they give us, I'm in love with and want to start it, because that's kind of my plan. Okay, so Sweet Wren, which is from this book. This is the piece. And so this is stitched on, I believe it is 32 count persimmon by Fiber on a Whim. So it's like this pink fabric. But like I said, both Bernadette and Andrew, and let me just look really quick because this is going to bother me. See if I can find Stitches with Andrew. And this was his finish. I'll just show the picture. So that's on the light, and that's on 40 count affogato, which I had a whole bunch of 36 count affogato, and I ended up, that's what I'm stitching it on. And then here is, this is Bernadette's, and hers is on 40 count blush by Atomic Ranch. So very, very similar. Both of them did say that they changed the letters. They're supposed to be like a grayish color. They changed them to a blue. And so I did I picked up at first the colors that Andrew had said he used for the blues. And then I ended up switching them to, he used like 9, I'm already forgetting. Go look at his post. I am not very prepared today. 930 and some, they were more like kind of bright blues. And I love the 9, 24, 26, 27, and 28, which are these. And they're they're blue, but they're more like on a muted. And so I ended up, those are the blues that I went with. And so here is where I did not get very far, and then who knows what I ended up picking up next. But you'll see I have a lot of things going. This is as far as I got. So I did decide to use, I believe that is 927 I'm using for the letters. And then the other 9, 24, 26, and 28 are what I'm going to use for the bird. So, and this is 36 count affogato by Fiber on a Whim, which is one of my favorite fabrics. And it's not a very large piece. However, I was asking Bernadette, and this is the same for this other one I'm doing from Teresa. This basket is very stitch heavy. So, and potentially if I was to get this to a fill-in place, maybe I would take this, but the other one is kind of a little further along. So whether I keep going on this, which I would like to for as long as the spring mood is keeping me, I am kind of getting like a summer stitching itch. But I'm also still liking the spring. I would like to try to work on this some more. Oh, she said that the basket was a little stitch heavy. So it could take, I don't know how long that's going to take. All right. Another one I started was Tribute to Summer by Stacy Nash. And I kind of feel like I don't have a picture. No, the picture part did not print off. So I'll insert a picture, let me put it over here, of what Tribute to Summer looks like. And I am using the called for fabric. It's a different count. I'm using 36 count cocoa, and it calls for 30 count. And I'm using the called for colors, except, let me show you where I am. So here's cocoa. I love this piece so much, and I did Rika from House of Stitch and Stash. She kind of is who got me wanting to stitch it. And she started it as well. The flowers are supposed to, after both of us started and then we read the directions, you're supposed to stitch the white with 2 strands. We stitched it with 1. But I think that they still are showing up great. I'm loving it. The leaves are supposed to be apple cider, which is what the inside of this flower is, if you can see. It's like a brown. I looked up some photos on Instagram, and Ginger Scholl, she just pulled colors from her stash, and so they're not listed, but she was using endive, and I think I like endive better. Also in the photo, there's this inside border, and it's supposed to be, forget which one it was supposed to be. Maybe toasted barley, but in the photo it looks kind of blue, so I decided to also add dove to do this inside border. So I really enjoy this, stitching on this. I stitched on this for a few days, and then I kind of decided I wanted to do something else. I didn't stitch on this, but I put this in the same bag because it has the same idea. But this is the Be Kind sampler, and this is a whip I have. So I put them both in the same bag together so I could pull either one of them out and keep working on. This is one that I'm considering bringing with me to stitch on. But like I said, hopefully I'm going to want to stitch on what they give us, and then that's just what I'll work on, but we'll see. Okay, with my daughter's birthday being Friday, I re-kitted kind of Dear Daughter. I'm still on the fence of what I want to do. I had watched Holly Mrs. Jones Stitches, and it kind of made me think maybe I want to use like some of the color palettes she's been putting together for Dear Daughter. But then I still am going back to maybe I want to stitch it in the called for. I can't decide. So I decided to just put that one aside. However, I haven't gotten back to the Sal that I'm hosting with Carrie, Tiger Lily Designs, which is the Anniversaries of the Heart Sal. And part of it is I felt like I chose 9 of the designs, and I was going to do 3 by 3 and I have my birthday, one for my birthday, my husband's birthday, our anniversary, the sampler in the middle, and this is just one of them if you're wondering what Anniversaries of the Heart are by Blackbird. And And then I had my parents' anniversary, a block for my in-laws' anniversary, and then the 3 at the bottom were one for each of our children. I felt like even though I narrowed it down to 9, it was very daunting to me. And this is as far as I got on the first block, which is for my husband. And I just was like not in the mood to pick it up. And so what I have decided is I am going to stitch the 9 still, but I'm going to do them all separately. I am going to, you'll see my start on, this is the one for my middle daughter, which it was her birthday. So I thought, let me pick colors for this and start this. And so I did pick some different colors, same idea. So it's still pink. But I decided I'm going to do them all separately, and I'm going to do them all on different fabrics, all the same count, so it's all going to be 36. And then I have not decided if I want to frame them all, so then they'll all have a frame like this, or if I want to make them all into pillows and then have like a bowl with all 9 pillows. So that is still to come. But I did make the decision. And I started this one, so the decision is made. I'm going to stitch the 9 separately. And even though I did have, I have this piece, it's big enough for all of them. I'll probably do a couple of them in this fabric, which is Vintage Light Exemplar by Lakeside that a friend so generously gave me. So I'll stitch a couple of them on this, and then a couple of them I'll do on other fabrics. So this was the one for my middle daughter, like I said, and I chose some pinks, which I just put a few on here, some pinks, some greens, and then I like the dove color with them, some browns. And I might add some others, I'm not sure. And I picked a piece of 36 count Boardwalk by Color and Cotton. And this is where I got. It's very little. The stitch is little. So it's not going to take a lot of time. I love the colors, which really motivated me to want to work on it. So I would like to keep going on this and try to get this one finished. And like I said, I am on the fence of framing them or turning them into pillows. They are going to be small. So I kind of want to get one done and then decide. And if I frame them, I will probably have to order a frame from online because Michael's and Hobby Lobby, I don't think they will cut a frame that is going to be small enough for this. But I love the colors, and her favorite color is pink, which is why I chose this one. So, but I was really glad that I was getting back to this because I have wanted to stitch this, and that's why we started the Sal, is I know Carrie has also, but I want to put some progress in on it. But it hadn't been calling to me. So I felt like if I changed it up, maybe that would make it more enticing. And also doing them separately, I felt like it would feel less daunting because I have a lot of big projects and I love big pieces, which is part of my issue. Is I just want to stitch the big pieces, but then they take a long time or they seem large and semi-unattainable. And so then it kind of puts me off sometimes to them. So that's why I decided to go ahead and break it down to be the individuals. And I'm excited about that. So I also did very little. I want to get this done so bad. But I really need to stitch on it like during the daytime. And my daytime stitching has been next to none recently. But this is a daily reminder, which we started for Tara Silly Stitch's birthday. And this was from Market. And I did, all I did was working on filling in the house. I am doing it on dark soil, yes, dark soil. I want to call it dirty soil. Dark soil by XG Design. And like I said, all I did was I'm trying to fill the house in. And if you want to see it finished, Holly, Mrs. Jones Stitches, like I talked about her before, she just finished it. And she did a color conversion to color and cotton, and hers is really pretty. But she has the whole thing done, so you can go see that. All right. So for Easter, I was thinking of starting something and trying to, for this whole week, just stitch on that. Well, that's already gone out the window. Like I said, I'm a little scattered because of going out of town and all that. And so just stitching on one thing that I'm telling myself to stitch on is not really going to work this week. However, I got this. This is part of haul, but I thought it has nothing to do with Easter, but it just like reminds me of Easter for some reason. It's calming. The colors are very pretty. This is from Shakespeare's Peddler, and it is called A French Summer Sampler, and this was from Market. Very simple, very pretty. And so I did decide to start this. I started working on this on Sunday. And it calls for 40 count cappuccino. I have 36 count cappuccino by Fiber on a Whim. And this is where I've gotten. And it does not, the flowers are supposed to be an onion skin. But when I look at the picture, I see the flowers being like a light pink. So I did decide to change the flowers to Sanguine by Weeks Dye Works. And so I did get a little start on this. It's just pretty simple. The colors are simple. I see this as a piece that would be really pretty to be in my house all the time. It's very delicate. So hopefully I will get motivated to work on this some more this week. But I'm in the no plans mode right now, and we'll just see what happens. I also I would like to work on this week. This is the hydrangea kit, Be Still My Heart. And I've seen a couple people finish this. So I would like to work on that. So I just kind of put that all in a bag together to have as a possibility of something to work on. All right. Excuse me. The next thing I worked on, which, like I said, I worked on lots of different things. I didn't even realize. I thought, I didn't do anything. I'm not even going to film this week. Apparently, I had lots of stuff going on. I kitted this up a couple weeks ago. This is Brambleberry Bunting by With Thy Needle and Thread. Just as a small to stitch and finish and have a finish, a quick finish. And I will show you what I did. I worked on this yesterday. Not very long. So as you can see, it is a quick finish. I'm almost done. This is on 36 count vellum by Picture This Plus. And I did use, these are some of the colors that Holly has been mentioning on her videos. But I am liking the color palettes, and so I thought I just want something easy to use them for. And so I'm just kind of looking at the picture, and then like the bird is supposed to be a blue, so I picked a blue, the strawberries, and so on and so forth. So this would be quick to finish. And I am not sure Where did my bag go? I'm not sure if it's going to fit. I bought a little paper mache box at Hobby Lobby today that this might fit on. I've also thought I might finish it into a pillow and put it in a stitching box. So I haven't quite decided, but I thought it would be fun to use some of the Color and Cotton colors. I've been itching to use some, stitch this small, and have a finish. And that's something else that I try to make sure, whether it's a whip I'm picking up or another small, but just to have a finish, it kind of motivates me to keep going, because when I have a lot of whips going and nothing is getting finished, it gets discouraging. And I know it's not necessarily always about the finish, it's the stitching. However, I do enjoy having a finish. This I did not get very much done. However, I'm thinking this is going to be something that is calling to me. This is Gifts of the Season, and I'm stitching this piece. And I showed this a couple times ago. I had stitched the house, so I'm kind of at the fill-in on the house. And I was working on, I really want to get to this flowers on top of the house. And so that's where I was working on getting to that. And this is the called for fabric, called for colors, except for I did add teal frost to turn the house to this like blue color instead of the red. And I'm filling it in with Dove, which is that's the called for the roof. So I had to switch that a little bit, but this is so pretty. So we will keep keeping on with that. And that's everything I worked on. Like I said, there was a lot. But nothing really was necessarily keeping my attention, except for Tribute to Summer. I think that was what I worked on the most in the days that I stitched. And I had a lot of the days, it was like an hour here, an hour there. When I would get, a lot of times I stitch a few hours at bed after, my kids go to bed, but like bedtime has been later. So everything is just, it's not my normal routine, and so then the stitching kind of gets thrown off, which is fine, and that's part of life. So it's not always going to be stitching all the time, and that's okay. All right, so that's all of the things I've worked on. As far as plans, whatever is calling to me is kind of where I am right now. I would like to try to work on some of these pieces and some of the other ones I had started a little more before I get into summer stitching. However, like I said, summer stitching is starting to call to me. So we'll see what gets done before I feel like I want to work on summer. For haul, I did get the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. And this has some great projects. The main project I really liked was this one right here. No plans to stitch it immediately, but in the future I would like to have that. I like to get the magazine to flip through and see what is going on. I did pick up, what else did I get from there? I think some floss. I went to my local L&S Needle Arts, and I did pick this up, Folk Art Garden, and then I remembered I ordered it from Fat Quarter Shop too. So this will be a giveaway at some time. But I love this. I didn't buy it at Market. And this is stitched on old top hat, but I'm thinking, here's the colors. I am thinking I'm going to stitch it on Dark Soil by XJU. And I would like to start this at some point. I don't know when, because I have some other pieces on the dark going right now. And I need to have good daylight to be working on them. So I'm going to put this in my basket of if I feel like having to start to pull that out, because I do really like that. I also had gotten, this came after last week, I think, or I might have shown these. I don't remember. I'll show them again though. Christmas Eve by 36 count. And this is by Kitten Stitcher, or Wabi Sabi Linen. And this is 36 count chalkboard by XJU. So I had gotten, this is Christmas Eve, this is chalkboard. And I had gotten these to maybe use for Jessie Ormison from the Hands Across the Sea box. And I also when I was trying to kit that up and kit some of these other darker ones, I realized I don't have a lot of 36 count. Well, I don't really have a lot of dark fabrics in general, because it had been hard. But as I've been stitching on them, my eyes have kind of started adjusting. And so I wanted to have a few choices if something came out on dark, or I wanted to stitch something on dark, so that I could have those in my stash to use. I also had ordered this, which is Mary Ann Farmer, and I ordered the NPI to stitch with a couple friends. So I need to decide on my fabric. I think I know what I'm going to use, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think this is really pretty. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh yes, I had just got some other fabric that was from Needle Orts. I also ordered some more broom grass by Needle Bling. And I hope, okay, I need to keep the label with that, or else I'll forget what it is. I also had done an order with Primrose Cottage, and they had some of these charms from Lori Holt. This cool ruler, or measuring tape, I mean. I felt like this would be fun in a stitching box. I had been wanting to order this. This is a magnetic needle catcher. That's a Lori Holt product. This is called Woodsy Cottage. This is the whole reason I put the order in. This fabric is so cute. So I'm thinking about doing a project bag in this. And then I ordered, I thought there was another chart. There might have been, and I already pulled it out. Summer Garden Alphabet by Jeanette Douglas. This was another market piece that I did not get previously, but I thought that was really pretty. Felt like I ordered another chart, but maybe not. So I had got that from Primrose Cottage. And also today at Hobby Lobby, I found both of these, and I got them just because I thought they were interesting and maybe would be useful in stitching. This metal basket, I felt like 103s would fit in here while stitching, or other items. And you could even put like fabric in here, like a fabric liner of some sort. And then I thought this basket was so cute too. It already had the lace. Whether you put this by your stitching spot and put things in it, or displayed like a couple pillows. So I just picked those up. They were not on sale, but they were both under $6. One was 7 and one was 6. So I thought I'll just get them and share them on here. So that is what I'm just looking around to make sure I'm not missing anything else. I think that's all. I still have yet to fully finish my Hop into Spring. I know I got it stitched so fast, and then I just have not been in the finishing mood. But I need to get that finished to put out before it's time to put up summer decorations. So that's what I have for today. I am going to announce the winners of the giveaway from last week. And then for this week, I am not going to do a giveaway just to catch up on mailing. I did mail last week's. The 3 people did respond. Those are in the mail. But I want to get these and be all kind of mailed out before I go to the retreat next week. So I didn't want to do another giveaway. And next week, I'm not going to have a video because it's just going to be too crazy. So I will be back the following Monday or Tuesday, depends on what my Monday looks like, after I get back from the Hobby House retreat. So no video next week, and then I'll be back the following week. So if you are one of these 3 winners, send me an email to sweetwaterstitcher@gmail.com. Let me know what you won, and I'll put it in the mail. So the first one was Summer Sampler, and the winner is Barbara Matchak, Matchack. Congratulations. Number 2 was So You, and the winner is Teresa, and last name is Grdina. And the Drawn Thread Kit, the winner is Lori Winburn. So congratulations. And again, if any of those are you, send me an email to sweetwaterstitcher@gmail.com, and I will get those in the mail to you. So if you are going to the Hobby House retreat, I've seen a lot of people commenting that they are. Make sure to come say hi. Like I've said before, I don't know what you look like, but you know what I look like. So, and I do try to remember names from comments, but sometimes it escapes me. So say you commented or whatever, but come say hi. And I'm really looking forward to the retreat, a weekend to relax, stitch, and all of the things, recharge. Until then, I will be stitching. I'll try to post some stuff on Instagram. We'll see. Get the giveaways out. But until 2 weeks from now, I will talk to you later. Bye.